President Tinubu orders crackdown on security challenges, boost interagency collaboration.
Nigeria woos global investors, showcases turnaround story at IMF meeting.
ECOWAS takes step forward, ministers adopt Sahel contingency report.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we'll take a look at two key discussions: sports administration reforms for global success, and much later, emerging trends in party politics.
Yeah, Claire, you almost lost yesterday.
Okay, let's start this way before Demola and I, share with you what we were talking behind the cameras. We're looking at sports administration, and that involves the planning, organizing, directing, and of course, controlling of resources within sports organization, or programs which will include managing budgets, facilities, personnel, and other programs.
And in addition to that, sports administrators might handle recruitment contract, negotiations, event planning, and public relations, while ensuring the smooth and efficient operations of the sports organization.
All right, so sports management will involve applying business principles and strategies to sports ministry, and of course focusing on generating revenue, building brand awareness, and promoting the organization or sports championships.
In summary, sports management often involves marketing and public relations, while sports administration focuses on the day-to-day operations of a program.
Absolutely. And sports administration also here in Nigeria, of course we know, what the story is. Each time results go wrong at all levels in Nigeria and international competition, they get the knock.
Claire, alleged issues of incompetent personnel, sentiments, and prejudice affect objectivity in administration of sports, which subsequently affect result and development of the industry in Nigeria. So on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall examine sport administration in Nigeria, and much later, the emerging party politics. I am Ademola Adeoye.
And I'm Claire Adelabu Abdulrazak. Demola, which of the sports did you participate when you were much younger? None.
Table tennis.
Oh, okay.
And badminton.
Okay. So in table tennis, which of the sides are you proficient in? Is it backside or
Both. You? What about you?
I'm an all-rounder. Don't worry. You don't want to hear. And one day I'll take you up on table tennis. Anyway, I'm Claire Adelabu Abdulrazak, and it's always a pleasure to have you join us. I'm glad for Demola. We're reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. Shortly, we'll be giving you the highlights of the morning news. But don't forget that Chuks the boy will be here. I'm sure he will want to tell us how fast he ran or what side of the football pitch he played. But for now, Comfort, what did you do?
I'm still actually trying to find out what I'm good at. President Bola Tinubu has directed security agencies to step up efforts and enhance collaboration with state governments to achieve lasting peace and stability in troubled regions across the country. And this directive follows a high-level meeting with heads of intelligence agencies at the State House, where the president emphasized the need for a unified approach to address security challenges. And the move aims to bolster the government's effort in restoring peace and normalcy in affected areas, ensuring the safety and well-being of citizens.
We gave him what is going on, and we also assured him that work is ongoing and continuous. We also carried out his instructions. We went around, the chiefs were all out where we had these sparks and incidents of insecurity, Plateau State, Benue State, even Borno, these particular 3 states. And we gave him a feedback because he directed us to go.
Elsewhere in Washington, D.C., Nigerians' economic leadership delivered a strong message of reform and opportunity to global investors on the sidelines of the IMF and World Bank spring meetings in Washington, D.C. Finance Minister Wale Edun and Central Bank Governor Olayemi Kadoso led the charge with a message that Nigeria is open for business, with reforms laying the groundwork for sustainable growth and renewed global partnerships.
Initiatives, policies, and structural reforms to get to 7% per annum growth, because it is at that level that you begin to lift a substantial number of Nigerians.
Meanwhile, ECOWAS Council of Ministers rose from its extraordinary session in Accra, Ghana, after finalizing and adopting the report on contingency plan for the exit of the 3 Sahelian states. The resolution is to be presented to the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government.
We must never underestimate our region's indispensable role in the Atlantic littoral ecosystem and our contributions to the creation of the modern world. Someone once said that the point of diplomacy is to change the incentives and framework in ways that move parties from irreconcilable positions to a deal both see as a win. That is what we set out to achieve here.
Following the outcome of a high-level closed-door session between members of the Nigerian Governors Forum and the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, that lasted several hours, a consensus has been reached for the deployment of digital infrastructure in combating security challenges across the country.
The National Land Registration and Titling Program, which we need the collaboration with the state governors and the buy-in to ensure that, because and the establishment of the National Land Commission, which is a commission we intend to establish.
Aviation Minister Festus Keyamo has declared the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Airport in Minna ready for commercial operations, citing its international standard runway. Notably, the airport will serve as an alternative to Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. Keyamo made the announcement during the inauguration of commercial flights, attended by Information Minister Mohammed Idris and State Minister for Agriculture Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi.
The kind of runway we have here, the facilities are the nearness of the Minna International Airport or the Bola Ahmed Tinubu Airport to Abuja. This should be the alternative airport.
In other news, Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborevwori and several key stakeholders in the People's Democratic Party, PDP, have defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress. The defection was announced by Charles Onyeago, Commissioner for Works and Public Information, following a closed-door meeting at Government House in Asaba.
We needed to take a decision that will further help to cement the development in our state, to build the bond of love that have existed in our state, to further advance the cause of security and welfare of our people, and to a very large extent, ensure that development in Delta, because every politics is local, is not truncated. And in taking that decision, we came to the inevitable conclusion that moving out of the PDP is very, very necessary for us to be able to collaborate with our kith and kin and build that state that every Delta will be proud of.
Those are the news highlights. Good morning, Nigeria continues with Ademola and Claire. And remember, the conversation this morning is on sports. You don't want to miss that.
I am Oluremi Tinubu, the global and national Stop TB champion. Many people have asked why I've chosen to champion the fight against a disease like tuberculosis. My reason stems from a deep personal experience. I once had a friend who unfortunately fell ill and concealed the nature of his sickness until it was too late. Eventually, after he passed, we discovered he had tuberculosis. Sadly, due to the stigma and discrimination surrounding the disease, he would not speak up or seek for help. His death was a painful reminder that we could have intervened and saved a life if only we had known earlier. Tuberculosis is an airborne disease that primarily affects the lungs, but can also impact other parts of the body. Being airborne means anyone, regardless of their social economic status, can contract it. In Nigeria, one person dies of TB-related illness every 7 minutes, amounting to 206 deaths every day. Globally, one person succumbs to TB every 25 seconds, which is a staggering 3,456 lives lost daily. These deaths are entirely preventable because TB is curable if detected and treated early. If you or someone you know has been coughing for 2 weeks or more, coughing up blood, experiencing night sweats, or losing weight drastically, it might be TB. Please visit the nearest government hospital or primary health care center for proper diagnosis and treatment. TB treatment is free in all government and some private health facilities. Let us also remember not to stigmatize or discriminate against TB patients or those who have been treated for TB. Individuals who have been cured of TB cannot infect others. I call on all stakeholders, especially the private sector, to join us in the fight to end TB in Nigeria. Together, we can make a difference. Remember, TB anywhere is TB everywhere. End TB by 2030. Yes, we can.
Have you heard the news? The federal government of Nigeria, through its direct benefit transfer program, has started the disbursement of 75,000 naira per household in 3 installments of 25,000, 25,000, 25,000 naira. Each recipient must have a validated national identification number, NIN, to receive the payment on behalf of their household members. To benefit, your household must be in the National Social Register of Poor and Vulnerable Households in Nigeria. The federal government's direct benefit transfer program is helping to reduce the effect of suffering while promoting financial and economic inclusion for the poor and vulnerable population in Nigeria.
Ìjọba fún wa ní 75,000 ọ̀nà ní àti káàdì láti lọ gbà nígbà tí mo sì gbà mo ń fi ṣe nǹkan tó dáa mo ra oògùn nínú rẹ̀ mo ra oúnjẹ tí màá jẹ nínú rẹ̀ ó sì ọkọ mi náà ń bẹ a sì fi yòókù ṣe ọrọ̀ ajé pé ká tó máa rí gbé bá a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ìjọba wa òkè.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, in collaboration with the National Social Investment Programs Agency, National Social Safety Net's Coordinating Office, and the National Cash Transfer Office.
Introducing the new Jik Sachet. Whitening your whites has never been more affordable. Now you can keep whites shining brighter and disinfect by killing 99.9% of germs on your floors and other surfaces. Just Jik it with Jik Sachet.
Our major currency unit is the Naira, while the minor unit is the Kobo. They are both in notes and coins. The Naira is more than just a medium of exchange. It bears the images of our heroes. So, stop abusing the Naira. It is a criminal offense to spray the Naira at events. Stop stepping on the Naira. It's not your enemy. Do not squeeze, ruffle, or write on the Naira. Handling the Naira with dirty or oily hands can deface the Naira. Love the Naira as you love yourself. Be a real Nigerian. Nigerian national flag represents our country's history, culture, and identity. It was designed in 1959. The colors are Emerald Green 2.0, which represents agriculture, and Immaculate White represents unity and peace. Know how to handle our flag. Illuminate the environment or don't fly the flag overnight. Do not fly a dirty or tattered flag. Take such flag to the nearest National Orientation Agency office for proper disposal and replacement. The national flag can only be flown at half-mast on the directive of the federal government. The national flag must be flown at the same or higher height when displayed alongside other flags. Don't burn or allow the national flag to fall on the ground. Do not print, decorate, modify, or insert the coat of arms on the flag. Our national heroes are not buried with the flag. They are honored by presenting it to their next of kin during interment. Respect our national flag. Be a real Nigerian.
This message was brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Next is Newspaper Review.
Chukwudi is right here in the building again today. Chukwudi, you refuse to answer
No, I will not answer.
Demola's question.
How could he start with what happened to Arsenal yesterday? Is that what you have come here to do? We capitulated in view of the Champions League coming up next week. It's tactical retreat for reinforcement.
And anyway, Arsenal played draw with Crystal Palace.
Yes,
you know, that's it. That's what you wanted to hear. So Liverpool has a chance of.
Arsenal will not be beaten till the end of the remaining 4 games, and they'll beat Liverpool.
Anyway,
at
we don't have that as one of the items on the headlines.
It's okay.
Yes, but probably elsewhere on the Premier League social media platforms where Chukwudi.
Sometimes slot is something that makes you feel happy.
Where Chukwudi and his cohorts will fight Demola Man U or Man City. Is it Man United?
You're even confused.
No. I'm just asking.
Because she's not taking up what brought us here.
Yeah.
You are becoming a renegade.
All right. I have leadership. I have leadership paper. And okay, let's start with the lead story, which is politics. Ahead of 2027, PDP suffers big blow as APC captures Delta. The riders are there. And on the other side, that's the left column, that should be to your right. Insecurity, Tinubu issues fresh orders, says enough is enough. It's on page 7. 29 states default in contributory pensions, it's on page 17. And 2025 Hajj may face operational hitches, page 7. IMF projects 45.4% debt to GDP for Nigeria by 2030, and just above the nameplate, Asian Mediterranean refiners, major beneficiaries of Nigerian crude shipments in April. Asian Mediterranean refiners, major beneficiaries of Nigerian crude shipments in April. Now, members hold parallel sittings as crisis rocks Zamfara Assembly. Now, that's the face of the leadership newspaper. I also have the Daily Times with me, and I will just read out the headline. Tinubu meets with NSA intelligence chiefs over worsening security concerns. That's the lead story. And, of course, the story on the defection of Delta political leadership from PDP to APC is also there on the, above the nameplate. PENCOM recovers 1.58 billion naira from defaulting employers. That's good news, great. Obi joins global dignitaries to witness Pope's line in state in the Vatican. And federal government releases 50 billion naira to varsity dons. And lastly, before Demola comes in, NLC slams power minister over, in quote, adequate electricity claims. All right, I think I'm done. Demola.
Okay, thank you, Claire. I have the Daily Trust newspaper with me, and it reads, insecurity, enough is enough. President tells security chiefs. Details on page 7. Patients stranded as workers strike cripples FCT PHCs. Details of that story is on page 20. Aviation crisis, Air Peace, foreign airlines suspend flights. Details of that story can be found on page 23. Delta Governor Atiku's running mate orders join APC. Details of that story can be found on page 5. And we have the front page picture, the president with other service chiefs there. Okay, Chooks.
Let's start on a positive note. Asian Mediterranean refiners, major beneficiaries of Nigerian crude shipments in April. That keeps on enlarging our market. That keeps on increasing, our range of choice, which is good for the economy. When the Trump tariffs were announced, some people were shivering because the feeling was that it was going to affect almost the core of all African economies. But as the Chinese have proved to Trump, it's a lose-lose situation if he continues that. The latest now is that he says China will still pay some tariffs. There's going to be a deal with China, but tariffs will not drop to zero. That is real capitulation compared to the bellicose the rhetoric. So it's good for us that we are really having a wide range of customers. It increases our clout in the world besides the immediate economic benefits. I like that. Then there's one you didn't read about 8 improved crop varieties being released ahead of the new farming season. Please, it's very important to the likes of me. Those of us who like to watch things grow and who like to feed the nation. It's a very important one, I think.
Operation Feed the Nation.
Now, the one sorry?
Remember Operation Feed the Nation?
Yeah. Operation Feed the Nation, now you're alive in #1. Old school is the best school. Pencom recovers 1.8 billion naira from defaulting employers. I think we should become more serious as a people concerning the handling of pension benefits. I don't think that should be toyed with. I had reason to mention my having to go to Benin City to get somebody's pension that was being withheld for more than 2.5 years from a very top person, because we had evidence that he was the one who signed out that man's, whatever he needed to start processing his benefits. And when I got it, look at, there's evidence. I was a broadcaster there in the Bendel Broadcasting Service. You signed this. He said, oh, I must have misplaced it. He took the thing out from his whatever after 2 days. We should not engage that kind of behavior when it comes to giving a lifeline to people who have slaved, practically, I'm using that word in quotes, who have labored. Now that the rainy days are going to come, because you become frail and feeble after 60, you now need succor. And people are withholding your... How would Pencom be able to get the pension managers to disburse? So I think
we should do the style of women's Ministry of Women Affairs.
Did you read about women?
No, I said let's adopt the style.
The way forward.
Yes.
Where are we without women?
So the National Pension Commission has revealed that only 8 out of 25 states across Nigeria are currently fully implementing the contributory pension scheme, CPS, in their states. Now listen, the Director General said 25 states and the FCT have enacted the laws. Now, 6 others operate hybrid schemes, and another 6 have bills at various stages. Now, those who have made remarkable progress, according to this paper, are Katsina, Yobe, Bauchi, and the only state in the south is Abia. What is Lagos doing? What is Lagos State doing? No, it's not here. I don't know what that means.
Let's get something clear. It's not as if
we don't know. This is not a
it's
full
not as if that it's as if those who have not been integrated fully are not giving pensions to people in there. They are talking about a single destination system that they would harmonize everything and all that. It's not as if now you mentioned Lagos. It's not as if those who have retired in Lagos are not getting that. No, it's not that at all. They are talking about them coming into that integrated, contributory pension scheme.
Yes. So why are they not doing that?
Oh, well,
because somewhere.
I would also,
yes, go ahead. Please.
Yes, if you say why are they not doing that, I would also ask you why is it so difficult for states to domesticate some laws that are even UN-sponsored laws that you think are going to benefit.
You are going too far.
I'm going too far.
Yes, you're going too far. Let's talk about the NHIA. The health insurance,
I hope you know it has gone up. What do they call mine? It's not exactly the civil service type.
Yes.
What is it called?
Is it personal contributory something? Something like that?
My personal, I might be contributor for me before. But it has gone up. That's the point. What you pay. In fact, I was told that my own takes 39,000 something now.
How much were you paying before?
For how many?
No, one person.
For one person.
That's the amount for each person.
Not for your family.
No, not family. So if you say you're going in group, they are still going to take. And don't blame them. Health services are not coming cheaper. And people have to upgrade to reflect the truth, the realities of the current inflationary rate. I'm not here to perpetrate the hardship that the generality of Nigerians have, but I'm explaining like the true journalists we want to be.
Okay.
You have to upgrade. It was about 15,000, 30, 45 for 3.
45 for 3?
For 3.
No, we were
45 for 2, 45 for 3.
For one person.
But it is now about, that is my own scheme because there are different types.
Yes. Okay.
Let me not mislead the public.
We have to let you go.
There's this aviation crisis, and passengers are being stranded. Air Peace foreign airlines suspends flights.
What is the reason?
Well, NIMET now, they're on strike.
Oh, okay. NIMET on strike. We have to be careful. When NIMET is on strike, it means you're not going to tell us the parts of the country that are so cloudy, hazy, and visibility is low. We should quickly treat whatever their issues are. Even if those things are not positively resolved on their behalf, let them see that they have been taken into dialogue. Because the planes have to have safe skies.
The Minister of Aviation is an action man. He's a young man. He's an action man.
Okay, give it to Keyamo.
Yes, I give it to Keyamo.
I think he has summoned the management.
Exactly. Yes, because I know he will get at it.
They will talk about it.
He will.
But before we let you in 60 seconds, we are talking about sports administration, and earlier on I asked Ademola what sports he participated in. He said ping pong.
Which ping pong?
Table tennis.
That was.
And I told him, I said you were a great footballer. In fact, you were playing defense.
They called
number 7.
I was playing defense because I was so agile, you couldn't pass me with the ball. The only problem was that those big guys, they gave me a little shove, and I would cycle about 6 yards away from the ball.
I know.
I was good.
Yeah.
Actually, they called me Lukito. Okay. You know?
Claire, it is said that wherever a man goes to dwell, his character goes with him.
Chukudi,
why are you assassinating my bad character?
Chukudi.
Why? Why are you assassinating my bad character?
Lokito, God bless you too. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's take a break.
Nigeria, ready to breathe cleaner air and save money? Let's talk about gas. Drive with CNG, the smart, cost-effective choice. Fill up for less and travel further. Save money, save the planet. Switch to LPG for cooking. It's cleaner, healthier, and better for environment. Say goodbye to smoke and eye problems. Do you know Nigeria is a gas nation ranked 9th globally with over 209 trillion cubic feet of gas reserve? Gas isn't just for cooking and driving. It powers industries too. Cleaner, cheaper, and more efficient. And the best part, conversion centers are popping up everywhere. It's never been easier to switch to gas. Join the cleaner energy revolution. Choose LPG for cooking and CNG for your vehicles. Clean energy for brighter future. This message is brought to you by the Office of the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, supported by the Nigeria Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA.
Introducing the new Jig Sachet. Whitening your whites has never been more affordable. Now you can keep whites shining brighter and disinfect by killing 99.9% of germs on your floors and other surfaces. Just jig it with Jig Sachet.
The Nigeria Coat of Arms is the official seal that represents the authority of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, hung on the wall behind the seat of the principal officer of the government, supported by the portrait of the serving president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It has 7 features. The black shield stands for Good Earth of Nigeria. The silver wavy band stands for the confluence of rivers Niger and Benue. The 2 white horses stands for dignity. The yellow flora is a common wildflower throughout Nigeria. The red eagle stands for strength. The wreath is in our national colors of green, white, green. The motto, unity and faith, peace and progress, is written on a beautiful yellow ribbon, and it's a maxim for all Nigerians. Be a real Nigerian.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we sway in color, with undying demand. We make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Diversity is unique, we are more than the solution.
We are Nigeria, strength and unity, we know they carry life. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Welcome to Silver Oasis.
Silver Oasis, a TV series dedicated to aging and older persons in Nigeria. Be part of this series and discover the transformative programs crafted to give a new lease of life to our senior citizens, courtesy of the National Senior Citizen Center.
The National Senior Citizen Center is the oasis for the senior citizens.
For thought-provoking discussions on aging, geriatric social care, and issues that matter most to our senior citizens.
Silver Oasis.
Silver Oasis. Silver Oasis.
Tune in to Silver Oasis on the network service of the NGA every Saturday at 10:05 p.m. Silver Oasis, improving the quality of lives of senior citizens.
You're still watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Just before we bring in our guest for our conversation on sport administration, let's take this background report by Ibrahim Dan Hamidu.
In Nigeria, the roar of the crowd, the sprint to glory, and the promise of podium finishes often conceal a more complex narrative that plays out not just on the field, but within the corridors of sports administration. Sports administrators and stakeholders in the sector have long pointed to systemic issues hindering consistent progress. Despite the country's abundant talent across disciplines, from football to athletics, basketball to wrestling, many athletes continue to train under challenging conditions, face late preparations, and navigate administrative uncertainties. Experts attribute these challenges to irregular leadership transitions, limited funding frameworks, and a weak policy execution. Concerns have also been raised about the politicization of appointments, where individuals with a little technical background in sports are entrusted with key decision-making roles. This, according to several observers, often results in short-term strategies and underwhelming outcomes on the global stage. The National Sports Industry Policy, introduced in recent years, has been commended for its ambition to reframe sports as a viable industry. However, stakeholders insist that implementation remains slow and that reforms must be anchored on professional capacity, transparency, and long-term planning. Across the country, there are emerging signs of innovation. Some state sports councils, private academies, and younger administrators are beginning to challenge the status quo with fresh ideas and modern approaches. But whether these sparks can ignite a larger transformation remains a pressing question. Experts in sports administration, policy, and athlete development are in the studio to examine what it will take to position Nigeria's sports sector for sustained success through strategic and effective administration.
All right, Ibrahim Dan Hamidu, thank you for the background report, and I'm very glad to report that I have my former boss here. Of course, a boss is a boss any day, and who is also a veteran sports commentator and sports consultant, Abdurrahman Ibn Mohammed. He's right here with us, and we say, welcome, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Claire. Good to see you again. Good
yes. All right, Demola.
Okay, let me say good morning to you too. Good morning.
Good morning, Demola. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Also joining us from our Lagos studio is Godwin Enakena. He's a sport administrator and a journalist. Godwin, good morning. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria. Good morning. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Abuja.
Okay, go ahead.
You want me to start?
Yeah, just,
why?
I mean, you've been talking sports this morning, so let me hear you fire the first shot.
All right, let's start with Mr. Ibn Mohammed. You know, most times when, like we said earlier on, when things go wrong, and when our teams, both football, you know, and athletics, once they don't perform, you know, we blame the athletes. Is our problem really technical or administrative?
Well, that's a big question. The problems we face when our athletes don't perform and Nigerians don't like it, because at every point in time Nigerians want Nigeria to win, to win, to win. The problems are multifaceted. They could both be technical and they could be administrative. And some of it could also be historical. because winning, you don't just get up and imagine you want to win. It takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of logistics. And you know, there is this popular adage that says, when you don't plan to succeed, you're obviously planning to fail. So in a nutshell, a lot comes into making a team. Whatever that team is, could be a football team, it could be a basketball team, it could be weightlifters, it could be, you know, wrestlers, it could be any form of sport. If the logistics and the planning are not right, obviously when the time comes for the athletes to perform, the performance of the athletes is the last bit of all the planning, the trainings, the practice sessions. That's the last bit. What they need, what they do, the athletes, is to actualize what has gone through a lot. So when all these things don't, you know, come together and you know, gel.
So the performance of an athlete, for instance, would reflect, you know, what has gone behind the scene.
Yes.
So obviously the planning, all the administrative work will impact upon the performance of the athlete, the final outcome.
Right.
Okay, thank you for that. Let's bring in Godwin now, because we're talking about sport administration in Nigeria, and we know that sport administration in Nigeria is bedeviled with several challenges, I mean, which I want you to highlight. I don't want to do that for you. But with those challenges, how can they be addressed? You just tell us some of these challenges, you know, that we are facing in sport administration in Nigeria. That we are facing in sport.
Well, I think the first one has to do with government, first and foremost. When I say government, the role of government in sports development starts with providing an enabling environment. That's number one, is very key. Number two is the provision of infrastructure and, of course, equipment. Then the third one is grants to athletes who are representing Nigeria. I'll give you an example. An athlete is going to represent Nigeria at the Olympics. No grant is given. You give money on the day or at the event, you know, proper. You are not doing that athlete any favor at all. I mean, when you want to major or you want to medal at the Olympics 8-year cycle for you to win a medal. It's not something you do overnight. So I think the first start is for government to play its role of providing an enabling environment. Number two, infrastructure and equipment, as it were, and grants. I mean, I'll give you an example. Nigeria is a big country, 36 states and Abuja. As we speak, there's only one facility that FIFA and CAF says can do what? Host a major competition. I repeat again, FIFA says only the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Oyo. CAF says only the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Oyo can host the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Would have been playing in Benin Republic or Cote d'Ivoire if not for the Godswill Akpabio Stadium. So it starts with facilities, then enabling environment, and of course grant. That's the way to go.
Thank you, and I'm happy to see you. We hear you. I'm Godwin Enahime. Anyway, it's good. Sorry, it's good to see you today. Let's talk about the administrative part, because we've agreed that, you know, the performance of an athlete, it's greatly influenced by, you know, the preparations and everything that go behind the scene. So obviously that is a critical angle in, you know, determining our performances. And it's not as if, I mean, Nigeria, if you look at Nigeria's history, we've got talent. We've got one of the strongest and, you know, professional athletes in the world, anywhere that can compete. So let's look at the administrative leg now. To be able to carry out the tasks you've mentioned, you would need an institutional framework that is effective, that is independent, that is also autonomous, that has a budgetary provision. Does the NSC, as it is constituted presently, have that capacity and capability to do that?
Lovely question, Claire. Thank you so very much. Good morning to you once again. Let me start by saying that one of the best legacies that the President of the Federal Republic has bequeathed to this nation is the appointment of Malam Shehu Diko and, of course, Bukola Olopade to lead the NSC. That's beautiful. These are guys who have been there for like forever. They understand the dynamics of this business.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Some technical challenges.
Okay, he's not back. Godwin, we will get back to you if the connection is resolved. But let's bring the question down here to
Abdurrahman.
Yes, Abdurrahman. Yeah.
What like Godwin is trying to.
Okay. For me, we have taken a giant step by putting right people who can take.
Is trying to.
Speaks a lot for them. So for me, I think that's the way to go. We're going to the Commonwealth next year. Athletes are already preparing. Monies for them to pay their coaches, for them to take care of their feeding, take care of their medicals, are being paid by the NSC. So Claire, your question is simple. We have Shehu Diko and, of course, Bukola Olopade, and Nigerian sport is safe in their hands.
Is it true? Is Nigerian sport safe in the hands of the present commission?
Yes, like Godwin has tried to lay a background. When the present administration scrapped the sports ministry, adhering to calls from numerous platforms, sporting platforms, for the reenactment of the National Sports Commission, when the present administration, hearkened to that call and scrapped the ministry and brought back the National Sports Commission with Shehu Diko and Bukola Olopade, as Godwin has stated, one of the things that they did was to give probably the biggest ever allocation to the sports sector in terms of budgets. And like Godwin has stated, in that budget, provisions have been made for athletes, likely athletes that will represent Nigeria. The next big event for Nigeria is the Commonwealth Games next year. And for the likely athletes, likely podium finishers that will represent Nigeria, provisions have been made for them to be able to take care of their coaches, to take care of their trainings. Remember, I tried to explain that winning a medal or winning a match doesn't come on the day of the competition. It takes long time planning. Gordon tried to say something, and I want to allude to that. The Olympics is an 4-year cycle, but serious countries, serious-minded countries, identify their talents and look forward, project into the next 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and keep training those talents, taking care of their needs, their medicals, their technical development, their schooling, if that has to be done, their feeding. It's an omnibus situation, and they monitor the progress of such athletes until when it is time. It's not that when you see athletes from Australia, Kenya, or the US win medals, it's not that they just dreamt about it last month. Previously, what used to happen was the government would release funds a month, probably sometimes weeks, to a big event. When the sporting federations have done their selections and so on and so forth, frustrations would have built up. The athletes have not trained to the point that they will be at their optimum level. And once that is not done, if you give them ₦1 billion each on the day of the competition, it will amount to nothing. So planning is key. Planning, provision of the key facilities. And let me latch on to something that Godwin has also stated. At this point in time in Nigeria, it is only the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium that FIFA and CAF have approved for international matches. So the Super Eagles, So the Super Eagles can only play there. What has happened to the National Stadium in Abuja? What has happened to the National Stadium in Lagos? What has happened to Ahmadu Bello Stadium? What has happened to Obafemi Awolowo Stadium in Ibadan? What has happened to the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu? Over the years, it appears our governments or the people taking care of our sporting facilities, that is the sports ministry, have gone to sleep. That is it. Otherwise, why couldn't these facilities be kept in touch? Because in the past, these same facilities have hosted Grade A matches approved by FIFA. Nigeria has hosted the World Under 20 World Championship, Under 17 World Championship, all FIFA sanctioned. So those facilities have been allowed to degrade. The keyword there, maintenance. Maintenance culture, not there. The facilities, sporting facilities are used for any kind of jamboree. It could be religious, it could be political, and these things are not built for that. Different arenas should be made available. When there's going to be a political rally, campaigns, let them be there. When there's going to be a religious gathering, let them be there. But sports facilities should be strictly kept for use for that. Otherwise, when you do that, there is, for instance, a religious gathering. The facilities will be messed up, and the costs of maintaining that will be, and the government has so much on its hands. It has to take care of health, it has to take care of transport, it has to take care of this and that. So the government cannot be spending money all the time trying to, remedy damages that have been done. And one of the simplest ways to safeguard this is sports facilities should be left for sports only.
You talked about the performance of athletes, in competition when they are not fully, trained or prepared for it. Would you say that accounted for our performance at the last Olympics? That was described as the worst so far. We couldn't even get any medal. All our hopes were dashed. Is it as a result? Because a lot of people have complained about lack of transparency, in the path of sport administrators in Nigeria. Sometimes they want to go for a competition. They don't even have the list of those who are going to represent us. The list will just come up probably a day before, and there's no support for the athletes. Nothing. So what is happening? How do we begin to address such challenges? Because the last performance at the Olympics is nothing to write home about.
Any sports administrator that is worthy of the name of being a sports administrator must know that there is no favoritism, no tribal affiliations, no religious affiliations. If athlete A is good, period. The creed of that athlete, his color or her color doesn't count. It's the performance. So if sports administrators have been found wanting in this kind of thing, the government should do the right thing, kick them out. Because like I told you, it has to take time to train, identify the talent, nurture the talent, put the talent in a competitive mood, and then provide the welfare and the training kits needed. And at the point in time of the particular competition, make sure that psychologically that athlete is in the right frame of mind to go and deliver. Otherwise, any other thing done. For instance, at the last Olympics, the golden girl of Nigerian athletes, Oluwatobi Amusan, couldn't click.
What happened?
That's the question. Because she still holds the record in the 100 meters hurdles for women. How come she could not sustain that? So a lot of things happened. The lady was facing some psychological challenges. Did she get the right support that she needed? Remember, she was accused of doping. When the investigation was going on, how much support did she have from the people that should support her? At some point in time, once that allegation was there, and remember, an allegation is simply an allegation until proven. But a few people didn't want to hear anything about her at that point in time because they thought once the allegation is there, it is proven. Eventually, the Court of Arbitration for Sports, confirmed that all the cases against her couldn't hold water. So the lady was, she withdrew.
Yes.
And I have mental memory of her pictures when she didn't make it. She was personally surprised. But you cannot be surprised in that kind of situation. Once you are not in the right frame of mind, the training has not come psychologically. How many Nigerian teams have psychologists attached to them? That used to be the...
Are you serious?
Yes. That used to be the pattern. In the Super Eagles, for instance, a good friend of ours, a journalist, an administrator, Dr. Robinson Okosun, was part and parcel of the technical team for the Super Eagles for some years. But all of a sudden, the issue of a psychologist was yanked off. Robinson, nowhere to be found. And when the Super Eagles players, sometimes the coaches passing the instructions and whatever, there is no psychologist that can do his own work. The coach does his own work. The masseurs do their own work. Sometimes the psychologist needs to come in.
Precisely.
It's not there.
Especially when you are losing, and you need to pep the players.
So all these things have to be put into one basket, and where the need for X comes in, X is done, and so on and so forth. But sometimes the powers that be, either in the NFF or wherever,
thank you. I want us to look at the powers. You've just touched a very sensitive issue. And Godwin, I'm coming to you now. Let us even understand who a sports administrator is or should be. What should be part of his or her mandate. And you said something earlier on that, the present leadership or whatever, have been there forever. I mean, forever in quote. So why do we keep recycling these phrases when we know that we've not been getting the results that we want? We use these phrases, we get the other results. We don't get good results. And we keep recycling these phrases.
Let me correct that impression or that notion. When I say forever, I was talking about persons who have been there understudying those who have been at the very top. Shehu Diko has always been around technocrats. He was learning, and of course, he became a boy who became a man at the end of the day. Some of the good things we talk about Nigerian sport, Shehu Diko has a role to play. And of course, Bukola Olopade was someone who broke away from the norm of it's always been government that will run sport, that will provide money. Bukola Olopade will go out there and get money for sports, for athletes to run. He also introduced the half marathon in Nigeria that is going places. That's exactly what I meant. I'm talking about round pegs in round holes. Precisely. I will repeat again, they are the best things at this point. The first time they are in charge of sport in Nigeria. They've never been in charge of sport. Shehu Diko was in charge of football, and of course he did very well. You talk about administrators. What is the responsibility of an administrator? I am privileged to be the chairman of a football club. This is the third time. I'm the chairman of a private club side in Nigeria called Sporting Lagos. It's owned by a young man who came from America to put his money where his mouth is. And if you watch any of their games at home, you understand what the dynamics are. I'll give you a quick example. As the chairman of Sporting Lagos, if I take one jersey, I'll pay for it. It's 26,000 naira. Private club. A government club, a chairman of a government club side can have 1,000 jerseys that he can dash. He can give out to anybody. He will not account for it. You see, government is not in the business of making profit. Government is in the business of rendering services. And I say what I said at the beginning. Government should restrict itself to doing three things. First and foremost, I say it again, enabling environment for sports to thrive. Number two, you provide infrastructure. And that's what we're talking about. No facilities in Nigeria at all. If the Senate President Godswill Akpabio did not build a stadium when he did as governor of Akwa Ibom State, there will be no stadium for the Super Eagles to play football today. This has nothing to do with administration, because administrators don't build stadia, as it were. It's government's responsibility. Number two, I also want to talk about, the role of an administrator. Abraman talked about going to the last Olympics, and he said because they didn't prepare well and what have you. No, that wasn't the problem at all. I was privileged to be a member of the ministerial committee that looked at why some of the reasons we failed at the last Olympics. I was in Abuja for over a month, and some of the things we found out. There was a group called the Podium Finish Team. This Podium Finish Team did not tell the minister that going to the Olympics, Nigeria will not win a medal. That if we're going to win, it will be Apple stance, not that we work for it. And I asked the question, for instance, Odwa Adekoroye, the wrestler who was supposed to medal, I just lost the mom in January. A few weeks to the Olympics, the brother was electrocuted. So how will she win? The other young lady, what's her name, Ese Brume, came into the Olympics with an injury. She wasn't good. I mean, then Blessing Okorodudu, who had won a silver medal at the last Olympics, came to the Olympics with a serious injury that the doctor said she cannot participate. But somehow, she went to the Olympics. Let me tell you about Tobi Amusan. Tobi was exhausted. She has run all the races in the world, indoors, outdoors, when she was supposed to be preparing quietly. But because she was chasing money, she had to run and run. So Professor Ken Anugweje, who was the chairman of the Podium Finish Team, told us at the committee, he said there was no way. But they couldn't tell the minister that, Honorable Minister, sir, we cannot make it, we can't win anything at the Olympics. So for some persons, it wasn't lack of preparations. There were a lot of things that were not done right. The Super Eagles of Nigeria, go there now. Every Super Eagles team, every national team of Nigeria has a psychologist attached to them. It's not only Robinson Okosun. Robinson is one of them. The Super Eagles have had Mr. Emmanuel Ikweme. Dr. Emmanuel Ikweme is a psychologist who has a PhD. He's always the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So these are some of the clarifications I want to make. Let government allow the private sector to run sport in our nation. The Abuja Stadium, I've been told, I was told just yesterday by Bukola Nopade, the DG of the National Sports Commission will be ready in 2 months. Because Shehu Diko, the chairman...
I think we're having some audio challenge from Lagos there that we'll correct it and we'll be back with Godwin there. But while Godwin was speaking, we had our special guest seated in the studio, Shehu Diko, who is the chairman National Sports Commission, just joined us. Shehu Diko, you are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we've been talking about sport administration in Nigeria. And now that you have gradually settled in, can we just have your perspective? What did you meet on ground?
Well, where do we start? What do you meet on ground is the way we do things before.
Yeah.
We kept doing things the same way. I had a conversation that has been going. That we always hoping that something magical would happen at some time. Nobody was being really focused or deliberate about what we really want to do. So, which has been the way we have been doing for a couple of years, just waiting for the next competition, gather the athletes, whatever it is, make sure you push the government to release the money and just go in and come back, hoping that there will be a magic somewhere, something must shrink up somewhere, and we can win a medal or whatever it is. Nobody is doing any deliberate planning that this is exactly where we are going, and this is what we want to achieve, and this is how we are planning to get there. So that is why the first thing, when the president took the decision to scrap the ministry and bring the sports commission, is basically to bring the professionals who really are in the system, so understands the issues and the problems, and then so let's get the solution and let's take a different direction clearly. So which is basically what we are doing. And the first thing we said is, okay, let's reset what we are doing. Let's take our mind off this fixation with the international competitions. You don't prepare, but you want to go and do well in international competition. You raise hope of Nigerians, you go there, you fail, everybody's angry, money has been thrown down the drain, no any positive output. So let's reset what we are doing. Let's really go back to the, instead of focusing more on international competitions, let's focus more on domestic competitions. Do the domestic programs, do the domestic events. If you do that, and you can clearly have a pathway to go to the international competitions with a clear understanding, likely because I'm prepared, because I know clearly for the last few years, this is why this athlete is doing, or this is what is happening, I'm likely to get this medal. And then fundamentally, if you get the domestic system working, you can create what we call the sports economy, because sports is no more again. So you need to get all the sports working domestically, preparing, so that we can do that. But that's basically what we say we have to do, and take a new direction to do that. And then, so we as a government have to see, okay, what kind of intervention we need to do to get this away.
So what kind of, because you've been part of this sports commission for a long time, I mean, probably understudying what is happening. Now, what kind of intervention are you bringing in?
Well, so that's what we said. So first you have to have your framework working. Anything you're doing without a vision, with that clearly, this is what I want to achieve. It's just plain. So the vision is clear. We want to create a sports economy. Then we run back. Okay, what do you need to do? So the first thing we say we need to reset our thinking. Think more domestic before international. If we reset that thinking, so because domestic means production. So there is economic activities, there's something going there. International competitions means more about consumption, because you take the money and consume in somebody's country without any value for you. So we have to do that. Second thing we said, we have to refocus. We have to be very, very deliberate and intentional and very direct on what we need to do. So anything you decide to do today, just get it working. Thirdly, we have to relaunch the sports. Sports have been battered for a while in the country, so you need to make it look positive. You need to bring the positive out of it, so that will attract the right people, both for the participant and also the private sector that can get the sports going. Do that. So that is what we say we will do. And then in doing that, we'll create what we want to do. And then so as a government, what do you want to do? The first thing that we decide to do, advise the president to do, let's recognize sports as a national asset. Let's get everybody to agree that sports is our national asset, because it is. So if it's national asset, what do you need to do for it? You need to give it the right framework, the right legislation, the right environment, the right support to get it to grow, and to also attract the private sector to invest and investors to invest into it.
Chairman, sorry to interject, because we've gone through, I mean, no doubt. Godwin said you probably, have the magic wand to turn, sports development in Nigeria around, given your wealth of experience, and your expertise. And I mean, if it's coming from Godwin and Mr. Abdurrahman here, I have no doubts about that. But you have told us the 3R initiatives that you intend to do, the roadmap now. But as a commission, as an institutional framework that is mandated to carry out this task, the reset starts with resetting the infrastructure. It starts with also resetting our interest in grassroots, development, which will, encompass both competitions, festivals, school sports, and all of that. Are you enabled? Is the commission enabled the way it is to be able to carry out this task?
Of course, absolutely. That's exactly what we are doing. So
yes,
in delivering this vision, that
so you don't have challenges,
no,
because
there's always challenges will always exist, regardless of, even in the big countries where they have the best, they have their own challenges. So you have to deal with the challenges. Challenges is always there, but it should not be a mitigating factor that you sit down back and say I won't do anything. So, but that's why I was saying earlier, when you have a clear thinking and direction of where you are going, you know, okay, this is where I want to go. Any challenge along the way, you see how we can resolve it. So, in delivering this mandate, clearly what you have articulated, we said, okay, the first thing is we have to reorganize the commission itself. That's get the right technical people, get the right people to come on board.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I asked that question. Are you enabled?
Yeah, well, that's our responsibility to do that. We have been enabled.
Yes.
We have been enabled to do this because why? We have the. I've never seen support for sports in Nigeria the way the president of the country is giving support sports at this moment. That's the enablers we need to perform.
Financial enablers.
Even the moral enablers, because it's only listening. Anything we discuss, we want to support. And by the body language of Mr. President, everybody now within the system is aligning.
Is your budget autonomous, or do you get it through? Do you have an independent budget?
Definitely. That is one. And then two, even when the president now, you can see the budget for this year, might not be enough, but he has shown the first step. That sports is being taken very seriously. The budget have jumped over 300% from what was used to be before.
Okay.
And clearly, it's not just monies to go and spend in programs and competitions. No, those monies are targeted the right infrastructures. Let's provide the right infrastructures and then provide the right enablers for the grassroots sports to go in. You know, I had the conversation before I joined the studio, talking about preparations and this and that. For the first time, if you look at the budget lines, we have the budget line for Olympic preparations. Olympics is 2028, but we are having money now to start preparing for that. That's how every country do it. We have budget line. We have budget line for Commonwealth preparations. Commonwealth is next year. We're already preparing now, so that we will know clearly. By the time we get to the competitions, we know clearly who is prepared to do. And we
do you have enough time? This next year, we're just preparing now.
We have been preparing.
Prepared like 2-3 years.
We came in now and we do what we have to do. Now, if you look at the activities of all the federations are already going to competitions across the country, where we are supporting them. We are supporting them. Even as I speak now, my DG is in Mauritius with the wrestlers, because wrestling is part of a comparative advantage as well. Okay. So we are there to see what we can do. And then as we are doing that, we are identifying the ones that are likely to give us medals, and we are putting them on the elite board, because we have an elite board now, a permanent board, with the CEO. Former Yusuf Ali, the former captain of the Nigerian team, is the CEO of the elite board we have, and the best hands on board. So we have them, we are identifying the elite athletes, and we are putting them on grants already, paying them their grants, paying them what they need to do to prepare for the next Olympics, and not to go and burn themselves out all over the place, go looking for where to get resources to do that. So that's the preparations you need to do. So by now and that time, we'll know clearly on this sport, likely this is where we are going, this is likely the person, this is the time they are doing, if it is athletics or if it's boxing, this is what they could do, whatever it is. So we can have a clear understanding. Our target for this competition, this is where we are. Okay. If we feel we cannot get anything with 10 Nigerians, based on the preparation, we don't think we are getting anything except by luck. If we prepared well, we can say this sport. So everybody will understand before we go there.
Okay, we're looking at your strategic vision objectives. One of it is private sector engagement. Before you came in, I mean, one of the things that Godwin, hammered on is that government actually has no business, in sport. That sports, especially funding, and should be left in the hands of private investors. So, how do you intend to attract private investment? And
if people say government have no business in sport, it's not correct. It's not factual. Nowhere in the world is like that.
No, not really.
Government have more business in sports than anybody, but it depends on the way the government wants to run the business.
Okay.
Government has to. If you look at our conversation, we always keep to say government have to provide the enablers to get that done. So when we said we are declaring,
how do you intend to attract?
When we say we are declaring sports as a national asset, it's very clear. We have to, as a government, we have to look at it. Oh, this is a national asset. Let's provide the framework, the enablers to get everything working, including bringing the private sector. Let's provide the legislation to protect the sports and to advance it forward. Let's provide the incentives. that we need to do to attract the private sector to join, to do their own part. And let's also government do their own part by providing the necessary budget and support to provide the foundation for things to grow. England, for example, UK, now for example, as at, you can Google it, as at last early this year, they have already budgeted almost over £1 billion by the government to start preparing for the next Olympics. Every year is almost 200 million or more than that. And they are already allocated to each sport. This sport get 2 million, that one 5 million, 100 million, 80 million, depending on that. So government have to put that. They need to do that, bring the private sector. If you provide the incentives, yes, private sector have to come in to complement what the government does. But government have to provide the incentives to do that. As a private sector, if you invest, if you support, what is in it for you to do that? So all that we are working on. That's why we already have legislation now in the National Assembly working to see how those incentives will be legislated and institutionalized. So everybody will know clearly that this is what I want to do. So it's normally supposed to normally work like PPP. Government do their part. Yes. Even if you go to America, for example, most of the government don't fund the sports, but they provide the infrastructure. Okay. All the biggest infrastructure stadiums in America are owned by either the state or the local governments. They maintain it and provide it for people to work. So that's why they are providing. Then private sector will come around with it.
Chairman, let's look at the reset. Yeah. Because that's the first of your R initiatives.
Yes, sure.
And the intention is to reset the sports ecosystem. What are your plans for all the federation bodies?
Well, you can see
because that's where we get the
part of the number 3 of our targeted objectives of getting things done. This is what we're trying to get to deliver this. Number 1, we say we have to get ourselves, the commission, get the right professionals come and join so we can move forward. We are working on that. We are doing that. We are bringing the right people through the elite boards and everybody working with us. Number 2, we have to get the private sector. We are already engaging the private sector and they're supporting to get that done. Number 3 of our target points to deliver this is restructure the federations. And the first thing we did when we came in is say, okay, look, the federation, you are having issues and challenges of resources, getting private sector. So we advise that you put what we call the chief operating officers. So each federation now, we have asked them, we are nominated to them to have the CEOs, not to go and interfere with the president work or the secretary's work. The CEOs are normally like the chief marketing officers and the strategic people that will go out and make sure every federation engage the private sector, get the additional resources, and also run on a professional basis. Because the CEOs are coming from the private sector to join the federation authority to get that done. That has been done. And you can see movement in the federations if you have been following up what the federations are doing to do that. And then now, we have the elections coming for the federations. We are targeting also to go all out and attract the right people who are passionate for each sport, who are ready to also bring in the private sector, or even commit their own resources to drive the sports, to come and join and contest and and be part of the federations to do that. Because there are people who are technically very good. They know the sports, they can run the sports, but they don't have also the capacity to go out and bring the resources to do that.
You're not an athlete at any point in time.
Up to tomorrow, I still play football. So,
you play football? Which of the sides?
I still play football until tomorrow.
Okay, because for NFA, we know we have, check the Premier Leagues. The other day, when Chelsea and Fulham were playing, it was Nigerian players that scored on both sides. So when we talk about football stars, we have them. But when they come to play at home, we don't see the same energy. We don't see the same
commitment.
Commitment. And the fault is placed at the feet of the NFA. Sorry, you want to come in here?
Well, I'm not sure the fault could be placed at the feet of the NFA. Remember, I did say that the performance of the athlete on a given day of competition is a climax of so many things. Gordon was just telling us about the inquiry post-mortem after the Olympics on what they discovered. It could be that the players in question have issues that may not have been identified, because a player has to be at his or her peak, mentally, psychologically, physically, to be able to deliver. So the ambience may be a difference. the fact that they don't play the way they play for Fulham, for instance, or Chelsea, they don't carry that same strength of seriousness to the Super Eagles. That is where the psychologists that Godwin spoke about and the administrative
or they are not fielded properly.
No, let me intervene in that. You know, I was also privileged to be part of the NFF. I was vice president for 8 years. I was before then. I've been around for decades, so I know these problems. You know, at times we used to misunderstand the way these things work. Players that play in their club, they train every day. They play week in, week out, so they can turn back and know clearly where this person will be. And they have a week. For example, they have a match this week. They have from Monday to next week to prepare for the match with the coach, with the tactics, studying the other opponent and know what to do. National team is normally a 3 days affair. So the kind of output that you see, and then they are coming from different backgrounds and perspectives to do that. That's why the national teams. That's why the national teams always. You can see if they stay longer together, like 5 years, 6 years playing together, they become better. The nucleus of the team to do that. You can see a player playing too well in his club, but he's playing with strangers that he has basically not played with. He's playing only for the second time. Doesn't know if I put the ball right, the guy will be there. If I put left, will be there. Even the language they speak on the pitch. Olise will tell you, for example, him and Rashid Ekini have a language that they speak. If Rashid Ekini is offered, Olise get the ball. Rashid Ekini knows the language, he speaks to him, that other people don't understand, but that language tells him, this is where I want the ball to go. So national team, even in the top national teams, you see the players, they don't give the same outputs as the team. But as the NFF is, I know that one for a good start, they always ensure that the players get what they have to get. What they have to do, prepare very well. Now the thing has been having upscale. And even yesterday, my conversation with my DG was that we are going to now start giving even the other athletes the kind of treatment we are giving the footballers.
Oh, good.
The other athletes too must take private jet, must take business class. They must get the best hotels. Now we can't be only the footballers are the ones having those kind of.
So that we can have an improved
so that we can motivate them to do that.
Okay, because of I want to ask, before you came on board, before you came to join the discussion, we talked about the issue of the stadium that is only Godswin Akpabio Stadium, Uyo, that is approved for certain CAF and FIFA graded competition in Nigeria.
Sadly.
Why is it so? What are you going to do about that?
Because I'm already doing it already.
Okay.
I just those things happens because the decisions that has been taken over the years were wrong. Even before I come here, 2017 or thereabout, I went to Morocco. I studied what they are doing with their stadium. Everywhere they have good stadiums, well maintained, even parks. Well maintained. I brought the same people to Nigeria at that time. I tried to link them up with the minister. And I said, look, let's work with these people to come and adopt the model they are doing together infrastructure working. Nobody wants to listen. So now, as Providence will have it, now we are in charge. So we are trying to do the same thing because it's really, I don't know how to even describe it. So we only have one stadium working. So if for whatever happened today, Oyo Stadium is closed down in Nigeria.
So we will be playing
have to go play in Cote d'Ivoire or go to Niger or
Benin.
That's disgraceful.
So what is the work? What is the work now?
Part of the first thing we did, you know, this will start from somewhere. Is go and sit down and convince them, Mr. President, that we have to do this. So for the first time, if you check the budget of the Sports Commission, there's a huge budget to fix the stadiums, to fix Abuja Stadium in particular, which is a national stadium. There's another budget that allows us to also go and intervene across the country to fix other stadiums. Because we told Mr. President that there is no any state stadium or national stadium. If I have a stadium in Uyo now, who's playing there? Super Eagles are playing there, Nigeria is playing there, leagues are playing there, Kano Pillars are playing, individuals are playing. So it's a national stadium. So we can work with any state to see how we can intervene to fix the stadium. So we have budget line.
We may have to be interjecting.
Just one moment. This is very interesting to do that. Now we have to fix Abuja Stadium, which is the first thing. I just came back from Europe this Monday. I went around Europe to get the best people, because what is the foundation of stadium is the grass. If the grass is very good, the rest are just physical infrastructure you need to fix. Because we always get the wrong grass. So we are bringing the people that did the best stadiums in the world to come and fix.
What kind of grass?
The best of the best. People that put the grass in like Real Madrid Stadium, Juventus Stadium, AC Milan Stadium, same people. They are coming on the 6th. They got their letter now to come here. I went with them, see what they are doing, and they were not putting just the grass, it's with the maintenance structure that we can train people here to learn how to maintain it together. So that will be sorted. We are hoping before September, Abuja Stadium will get working to do that. And then we are working with the state government now, like Kaduna State. We have given them Ahmadu Bello Stadium. We are working with them to fix it. We are working with the Oyo State government. We are giving them Liberty Stadium, the Awolowo Stadium, for them to work to fix it. Lagos, we are concessioning that one already. The process is already almost concluded. We are giving it to the private sector to do it. I mean, not just fixing.
Sorry, we have to ask other questions. Sorry,
it's important.
Yes, it's important in life on this.
Yes, because
let him just laugh.
You see, infrastructure is key. You see, we are not just fixing the stadium, the pitch of play. We are trying to turn the stadium to what we call the sports city. Like the Abuja Stadium, for example, we are bringing investors to turn it into a sports city. That's why we make it sustainable. Okay. So we will now get hotels, we will now get shopping malls, we will now get offices, we get residencies. So it becomes a city of itself. Those revenues, we keep maintaining the stadium. Kaduna will do the same thing. Lagos are trying to do the same thing. Ibadan, because they have the land to do the same thing. When you do that, all over the world, you go to the stadium, it works 24/7. There's convention centers, there's everything they are working. Not just waiting until the Super Eagles play only how many matches? Maybe 6 times a year?
That brings me to the question. Super Eagles, their performance at the last qualifying World Cup was not too impressive. Do you think that we will be able to qualify for the World Cup? What are our chances?
We are confident. When we came on board, no, I mean, it's about being realistic. When we came on board, it's already a bad case.
Already a bad case.
When we came on board, we said, okay, what do you do to recover it? The last 2 matches we play, even though we didn't get the result we wanted in the last match, it's a huge improvement from where we are coming from. In the last matches we have played, how many matches? We have played 4 and got only, I think, 3 points.
3 points.
Now we play 2, we have got 4 points. So at least there's some progress there. Even though we could have won the last match to do that, football didn't just work for us. It's not because things were bad. And we did what we have to do as a commission. Like, for example, we negotiated a new system for the boys, for their bonuses and everything, which was agreed. So they are okay, they know clearly what it is. As the match finished in Rwanda, before even they go and take shower, what we agreed with them was given to them.
Okay.
So no issue. Before they played Zimbabwe, what was agreed was even paid ahead of time to do that. So all those issues are no more out of the way. So now it's focused on the football. Now we know if we win the next 4 matches.
If we win,
we have to win the next 4 matches.
Let's take this question just before we go on break.
Yeah.
I remember, because I also did a bit of tracks, and I remember the National Sports Commission was a major catch, for most athletes. These days, the calendar is not consistent, and there are states that are itching to, that have not or hosted this fiesta. What are your plans? One, for the Sports Commission to be consistent.
Sports Festival, right?
Yes. National Sports Festival. And then, the states that are, that have not hosted.
We are also changing the narrative on that. Clearly, because what you said was what was going on, and we know it, so we have to change it. We just had the meeting of the National Council of Sports last week, also with all the commissioners of sports, and now we have agreed to fix a calendar for National Sports Festival. So now it has been fixed. Every festival year, it has to happen between November and December. So that has been fixed. And if there's any overflow, it will not go beyond January. Otherwise, we'll take it to another place. Now we have agreed that for every festival, we will have 2 states. Okay. The main state and the sub-state that's waiting. If the first state is not able to comply to the timing and progress, we can give to the next state. Now we have agreed to start this ahead of time. So we have already sent and asked for bids for the next ones, 2028 and 2030. So that's how they do the Olympics. You can't wait till 2 years to start bidding and ask somebody to go and spend 8 billion to put infrastructure. They start now. So already, as I speak to you, as at yesterday, we have received already more than 8 bids for the 2028. We have already fixed 2026. That's going to Inugu already. They are working on it to do that. And 2028 already, even the FCT have sent a bid. then people are bidding for 2028. So we award 2028 and 2026 now, so we can prepare when to do that and to get that done in the right way. Because we need to change. That's why we need to be deliberate, and we need to be focused on what we are doing. This is basically the refocus.
You have to be deliberate and
about it. So to do that, and then we are not just calling for the bid. We are calling the governors, telling them the advantages, sending them the details document to understand that if you do that, Ogun State now have put marvelous infrastructures around. Okay, so what is the plan after the festival? So we are already engaging them. Already we have attracted the African Under-18 Junior Athletes Championship. That will happen in Ogun State immediately after the festival. But when you build those facilities, you need to keep them to use.
And you also need to give them the right publicity, because even the Nigeria Premier League now is not having the right publicity, and that's where partnership with NTA becomes very critical. I mean, how are you going to leverage this partnership?
I was chairman of the league before. So I was the one since 2017. I've been driving to get NTA to be part of the system. And we have done marvelous work with NTA when I was chairman of the league. And now I'm chairman of the Sports Commission. We are upscaling it to the next level. We were in Paris those last couple of weeks ago. Like 2 weeks ago, DG was there, myself was there. We are talking, because it's not about the right partnership. There are things that we have to solve, which is the production capabilities. If you don't solve the production capabilities to be able to produce all the matches, cover all the matches across the country, not just Premier League, every sport in the country that you can now bring to the surface and also be able to put it on the platform to distribute, to do that. So we went to the manufacturers that supply the bands that the NTA has to talk with them to see, come, let's see, what do you need to do to get these vans back on track, both in the short term, in the medium term, and in the long term. In the short term, we fix them. In the medium term, what kind of new equipment we need to buy to keep upgrading them. In the long term, what kind of fresh new equipment that we need to bring back to make it more competitive. Okay. And then, lastly, it's good to hear this. Okay. And before we start this, we as the Commission ensure that we provided for this funding in our budget. So if you check the Sport Commission budget, you see there is a budget line to repair the OV vans under the NTA, but the money sits with us. Wow. So we have to partner with the NTA to repair them. All right. There is also another funding that we put in our budget to train people, because we need to train the capabilities, the video man, the cameraman, to do everything. So we have to collaborate with NTA to do that. And then
I wish you can stretch this.
I need to just confirm what the chairman has stated. The DG of NTA led management of NTA to the office of the Sports Commission chairman a couple of weeks ago to talk over this. And of course, the DG himself, the chairman himself, had already visited the DG, and like he has stated, there is already a budgetary provision. So the Sports Commission and NTA, the relationship that was started when Malam Shehu Diko was chairman of the League Management Company is being upscaled, because at that point in time, I think NTA beamed the national, the Premier League
Nigerian League.
For about 2 to 3 years. And incidentally, the sitting DG of the NTA, Malam Dembos, he was head of marketing, but he was, more importantly, chairman of the ad hoc committee set up by the then DG to oversee this. So these are two gentlemen who know what it is to operate. So we are on the right track.
And you see, to make, no, 1 minute, please, because what happened before that, we couldn't take it to the next level, lack of the institutional support. So now we have the institutional support with the president backing it, with the budgetary provision being made, and also the private sector support. Because the last time we visited here, we visited with the IMG Group, from who are also the partner to get this upscale, and then we already have NMPC Limited locked in. They are committed to support also to upscale all that. So government
because of time. Because of time, I just want to say something. Just listen. I know that one of your key vision objectives is this grassroots sports. Definitely. Are we going to have the Challenge Cup in secondary school back again,
we used to do? Because it's school sports.
Yeah,
school sports is one of
that's where we identify talent.
See, if I stay here again, we'll take another one.
School sports. we need to
That's how we identify
Chairman, we need
talent.
to take a break. I'm sorry, we need to take a break.
No. We have to sign them off.
Oh,
okay.
So let him just finish.
School sports is part of the foundation of what we are trying to do. If you have been following our activities, you have seen that we already have a huge and very cordial collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Education to bring back the school sports. We have had the privilege to address the rectors, address the vice chancellors. We are bringing back the university school, the Luga games to make them upscale. The Napoga games, all this, we are working with them to do that. We are bringing back the secondary school games, bringing back the primary school games.
I'm sorry. we have to cut you. But are you an Arsenal fan?
No, I don't want to hear that one. We are only local-based team.
Okay, all right.
I hate part of the message I was telling to all the people in public offices. It's always demeaning. It's always upsetting to see somebody holding a public office in the country wearing a foreign jersey, promoting a foreign club. Nobody does that.
So we need our justice. We need our justice.
I've seen governors of a state who owns a club in the state, and they wear foreign jersey to go to the club.
So we need our justice, Chairman.
Yeah, definitely.
We need our justice. Thank you for that.
So, Chairman, we just want to thank his Chairman, Sport Administration, Chairman's National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko. Thank you so much.
I'll give you 1 hour one day. We come and discuss this properly.
Yes. We're going to have more time.
I'll be glad to do that because we need to do the advocacy.
We need to engage
everybody involved.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Nigeria. Also, want to thank Abdurrahman Ibn Mohammed, sport consultant. Thank you so much for your perspective.
Thank you.
And Godwin from our Lagos studio. Unfortunately,
I'm taking away my friends.
Godwin, thank you so much for coming.
He doesn't hear what you are saying.
No, he does.
He's listening, actually. It's because of there's a delay. For coming.
Let me say this 30 seconds. I did not say that government has no business in sport. I said government has 3 major roles. First, providing enabling environment. Number 2, infrastructure, and of course, grant. That's exactly what Shiodiko, my friend, I just mentioned. Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure. I'm part of NTA.
Thank you. All right, we'll now take a break. We'll be back shortly to discuss the other topic for today.
Creativity is so broad. I would say whatever it is that you're creative about, it takes a lot of practice before you become very good. So if it's something you intend to pursue, it's something you have to keep doing. You have to keep practicing. It's not going to be an overnight success, which a lot of people look for. But if it's something you're determined about, but the drawback rather, is that you need what is called staying power. While you're developing your creativity, you need to earn a living. So I know that's where the conflict usually comes in, especially with the hardship in the country and all that. But I think a lot of encouragement from the private sector to create incubator hubs. We've had some of those in tech. We need those across various sectors as well. Incubator hubs where these ideas can come in, be developed, be encouraged, be funded, and then we can expand it from there.
Content creation, while it may sometimes get a bad rap, I think it's actually very important because we have to see ourselves. We have to see ourselves living our lives. We have to show and share our stories. I think that's very important. Now, the job after that is to be able to digitize those stories into something that can provide data and insights, that can ensure that we can be able to support whole-scale industry in these spaces, to ensure that the amount of money that each content creator is getting exceeds what is currently happening for many content creators. The same content creator who lives in Nigeria will be earning less than a content creator who's living in the US or the UK or Japan. And we've got to also bridge that gap because most of that is being driven by the ability of the consumers to pay for those goods, and also the pricing that many of these platforms have. So I think this is not the job for the content creators and the young people. This is a job for people like myself in the ecosystem who can help support the right pricing, to advocate for the right policies, to support economic development for consumers who want to consume that information and that content. And even beyond content creation, we're seeing that many people are stepping in behind the camera. They are producers, editorial, they are graphic designers, they are in technology, but maybe not in front of the camera. And what we want to say is also, we need those people too. We need those stakeholders involved. And the job of many policymakers, DFIs, is to ensure that the strategic investments get there, the collaboration gets there, and we're deliberate in how we're saying we want to support innovation in our continent.
There's an age group where your brain function is at its maximum, and that's the age group we call the youth, isn't it? So we need the youth, the younger generation who have the energy, the imagination to be equipped with the proper education, the proper tools, the proper encouragement, and then take what innovation they bring out and turn it into mainstream developmental ideas. So you find a lot of things that are invented by people in school or straight out of school. We need our patent laws to work so that they can earn a living from their imagination. Once the imagination is just for a one-year festival or an event, then it's not worth it. Somebody creates something, we need to get our patent laws to work, we need to enforce them, and then the private sector can use those patents to develop things and encourage more people to be more creative. Back in the days, yes, you had to be an engineer, a lawyer, a doctor. Today we have programmers, we have AI specialists, we have people that are doing ethics on genetics. Those things didn't exist 50 years ago. So there are new areas that need to be explored. The question really, apart from the parenting, does our educational curriculum cater for what the needs of the world will be in the next generation? Because our curriculum is dealing with the issues of the past. We need the government and the private sector to redo the entire educational curriculum to be forward-focused, not retroactive.
All right, welcome back to the program. Let's begin our second leg of discussion. And Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborowori, alongside his deputy members of his cabinet, his predecessor, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, PDP stalwarts, stunned Nigerians following their defection to the ruling All Progressives Congress yesterday.
Well, you're right, Claire, and that is what we are discussing today. But right now, the emerging party politics. We're seated in the studio already for our second conversation on this is Dr. George Agbakai. He's a public policy analyst, Southeast leader, Tinubu Support Organization. Dr. Agbakai, welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Okay, tell us, this sudden defection, how do you describe it?
I think what happened, thank you again for having me, please. Mm-hmm. What happened, was it yesterday in Delta State, is not only a political earthquake, it's a political tsunami in Nigeria. I think probably since independence, and of course, since the Fourth Republic in 1999. This is the greatest political upheaval in Nigerian democratic history. We all know that Delta State and the Niger Delta States in general are all bastions of PDP since 1999. But if you see what has been going on, recently, Calabar, that's Cross River State tilting towards APC, but more importantly, Delta State. Delta State and River State, as per population, is very significant in Nigerian politics. And in this case, it's not only the governor that is defecting. The entire political structure of Delta State PDP is going to APC. But the point is this. I see this as a validation of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and truly is a testament that his policies are working. When you talk about the NEL Fund, you talk about the CNG, you talk about the electricity reforms, you know, and a whole lot, you see that it is working. You see, our president is a seasoned and consummate politician who understands the intricacies, you know, and underpinnings of party politics and governance. He knows what is going on. See, I think in the words of Tony Blair, our president can see the middle ground. He can see the third way in between opposing political and dogmatic position. That you see, that's what you see happening in Nigerian politics. This is a big blow to the PDP, and Atiku and others. They are trying to form a coalition, you know, to fight the APC in the upcoming 2027 election. The way it is going, the president ranking in respect of the upcoming election is becoming clearer. And if it goes this way, there's every likelihood, probably up to 75 to 80%, that the president will win this election handily.
Okay, let's look at the defections and what it does to opposition parties. Obviously, it's weakening, you know, the opposition. So we can as well say the opposition is almost fizzling out. But again, Sun Tzu, you know, that's the Chinese warrior, says one of the best tactics in a war is to weaken, you understand, attack the vulnerability of your opponents, and that's probably what has been done to the opposition. But is this good for our democracy? Where will it lead us?
You know, democracy is well known as, you know, struggle for power. That's what politics is all about. It's struggle for power, use of state power, and consolidation of state power. You know, all these.
He didn't say struggle. Democracy. The definition we know is it is government for the people.
No, I'm talking of politics. I'm talking of politics.
Yes. Okay.
We know we are talking about party politics.
Yeah. So
politics can be defined as struggle for power, use of state power, and consolidation of state power.
Okay.
So what you see happening is political. All these governors and senators that are defecting to APC, they are seeing the good work the president is doing. When he came on board, it was a little bit.
Is it good work or lack of ideology?
No, I believe they are seeing the good work. See, let me tell you, when the president came in and extricated, you know, the fuel subsidy, you know, as well as the exchange rate to, you know, single exchange rate, it was a little bit rough, as we all know. But in the past several months, things are working. Things have started working. You know, not that it is perfect. You know, the economy is coming up. You know, prices of commodities are coming down. The fuel prices are coming down. You know, apart from the recent spate of instability and violence in Benue State and in Plateau State, you know, the insecurity situation in the country was coming down. And I'm very happy that the president met with the security chiefs, was it yesterday or a couple of days ago, and hammered on the issue of insecurity in Benue State and Plateau State. I think that's the only area the current administration is having problems. So if the security chiefs, you know, can work harmoniously in synergy in respect of this insecurity situation in Plateau and Benue State, I think the president will handily win this election.
What do you think might be the motive of someone like former Governor Ifeanyi Okowa to defect from PDP to APC?
Well, I believe at this point it's difficult, for me to state his motive. But we all know that Ifeanyi Okowa and the current governor are very close, and Ifeanyi Okowa himself is an astute politician. He has looked very well and seen that there is no way PDP will win this upcoming election. And this is the greatest blow to PDP, having a former vice presidential candidate of the party repudiating the PDP and going into APC. That is the greatest.
Now, the fear of many is that with this wave of defection now, and the whole thing we might just be heading for a one-party system of government. There won't be any credible opposition. Do you think it's healthy for the democracy?
Truly, having a one-party state is not right for democracy. It is a minus for democratic development in Nigeria. But I don't think we are heading towards that direction. There are still a lot of PDP states. But
a lot. When you say a lot, how many are they now?
Right now?
Yeah.
When you
because
when you count it numerically, are they not up to about 13 of them? They are about 13.
Even the Akwa Ibom
and we have one
governor
level.
He's already saying that he's supporting the So we're okay. Go ahead. Just finish.
The issue of Akwa Ibom state governor, I think is an issue. To me, is a step in the right direction. This gentleman is a true Democrat who has seen the handwriting on the wall. He has seen the way the president is improving the well-being of Nigerians. And he has a very close relationship with the Senate President. Mind you, when he talked about supporting Mr. President in 2027, the Senate President also gave him, up that he's going to support him in the 2027 governorship election.
We have to be very careful because 2027 elections, they're not here. So we don't want to be seen as if we are, already campaigning for a particular, person. But Dr. Agbakai, I'm just wondering, if you look at the wave of defections, what impact do you think that may likely have on our electoral clarity and voter engagement?
In politics, there are so many variables that determines the outcome of an election. If you look at certain elements that are going around, the opposition are trying to form a coalition, to fight the current administration. Somebody like Malam El-Rufai, Atiku, and others. And if you analyze it properly, you know that they are failing in that area. They've not been able to gather enormous strength to form a coalition. So what you see happening, I don't think the APC is also sleeping. The APC as a party is also playing the politics. They are also trying to woo certain PDP members to come to APC. I give a lot of kudos to the national chairman of APC, Dr. Ganduje. He's doing a pretty good job. That is politics.
What you're saying is, as the opposition is planning, the ruling party too is planning its own.
Exactly.
That's what he's saying.
I wish we had more time, Dr. George Agbakai. I really wish we had more time to talk about, because there are implications. It's good, but it's also not on the other side. If we do not have an opposition, like you rightly observed, it has its own impact on democracy, not just on the process itself, but also on the electioneering and electoral process, on the electorate engagement, on the clarity of the electoral process. There are so many implications, but
but you understand that the 2023 election was the only election in Nigeria that sprang up a lot of opposition members in the House of Representatives and House of Assembly, whereby you have senators that are NMPP, you have senators that are Labour, you have senators that are PDP, and also APC.
Dr. Bakar, I have
Many of them defected already.
They've all gone back. Dr. Bakar, I'm sorry. You will have to come back. You will have to come back.
Already.
Yes,
because that is political.
Dr. George Agbakahai is a public policy analyst and, of course, a Southeast leader, Tinubu Support Organization. Thank you very much, and indeed you've shown us, you've proven, your designation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. It's been a robust conversation today, right from
the sports.
Ademola, the table tennis.
Don't go there, because, let's just conclude this.
All right. We'll continue from where we stopped tomorrow. I am Claire Adelabu Abdulrazak. Demola will be here, and I'll see you on Monday.
Monday?
Yes.
Okay.
Tomorrow is Friday.